Next, let's define the pre-stress for the girders. For that, I'll go to load, temperature, pre-stress. So in MIDAS Civil, pre-stressing is done in 3 steps. First is the tenant property definition, and then you define the tenant profile, and then the tenant prestress for the profile. So I'll click on tenant property first. I'll click add, give the name as tendon. So you can select the tendon type, whether it's pre-tension, post-tension or external. I'll select post-tension, and the material property as tendon. So I'll click this 3 dot button, select the diameter as 15.2, give the strands as 8 numbers. So the area would be automatically calculated by the program. I'll give the duct diameter as 0.09, select CVFIP 1990, and rest all the parameters I'll make it default. If you want to change, you can change them. I'll click OK. So this gets added to the tenant property. Click close. Now I'll click on tenant profile, click add. So this dialog box opens up. First I'll give a name as Girder 1 tendon 1. So I'll define the profile of Girder 1, the tendon 1. Select the property as tendon. For assigned elements, I need to select the girder 1 of the first span. So I'll click on span 1 girders from the group. I'll activate. To left view, I'll make this as none. I'll select the first girder. So the assigned elements would be updated. I'll change the input type to 3D and curve type to round. So and the reference axis to elements. To see all these details, you can press F1. So this would open up our online help manual of MIDAS Civil. So you can refer the parameters and the definitions and the explanation. So here you have element is selected as a reference axis. So all this explains the nomenclature that the software follows. So next step is to give the coordinates of the tendon for the first tendon of the girder 1. So for that, I already have the cable coordinates. So the coordinates of the tendons are fixed. So for girder 1, tendon 1, and tendon 2, tendon 3 left, tendon 3 right. So 4 tendons for one girder, and I'll assume that this cable coordinates would be same for all of the girders. So I'll go back to my model. So you can directly copy paste the coordinates. So in MIDAS Civil, everything is Excel compatible, so you can directly copy paste from the Excel. So I'll paste it. So the coordinates are updated now. Please careful with the units. So these are in meters, and this is a half profile of the tendon of the girder. So for that, the point of symmetry, I'll keep it as last and make symmetric tendon. So this would make up the other half of the symmetric tendon. So 29 points have been generated to profile this tendon. So if you don't see this OK and these options, you can minimize from here. So here it will ask you for the profile incision point of this tendon. So for that, I can select this element. So one element. So ith end of that element, the tendon would start, and the x direction is from I to j, and these are all the other parameters. I'll click apply. Similarly, I'll give the profile of the second tendon of the girder 1. So assigned elements would be same. So I'll delete these coordinates. I'll copy the coordinates of the second tendon. I'll paste it, make symmetric, minimize, and the profile incision point would be same for this girder. I'll click on apply. Now I'll change this to tendon 3L. Delete these coordinates. Paste them. I'll click apply. Similarly, I'll do it for the right tendon. Control C, Control V, and I'll click OK. So these are the 4 tendons. You can select all of them by pressing Shift and selecting all. So these are all the tendons. So you can turn on the section, click left view. So this is how this tendons are. So this would be my G1 T1, second tendon, left tendon, and the right tendon. So if you see the front view, this is how it looks. So as the tendon locations for each girder is same, so I'll assume them to be same. So I can quickly copy these tendon profiles to the other girders. So I'll select all and click on copy. So mode is copy. Click on equal distance. I'll give the distance as 0, 3, 0. Then I'll click OK. So you can see for the second girder, the tendons have been copied from the first girder. So this is how it's very simple to copy the tendons. I'll rename them to girder 2, just renaming them. Okay, that's done. Now I'll copy this girder 2 tendons to the other tendon. Click OK. So I'll rename them to girder 3. Okay, so you can select all of them to display. So this is of the tendons for the first span. For the 3 girders would look like. So I'm going to copy this all the tendons to the next span. For that I'll activate all. I'll select all of these tendons, copy, and equal distance. I'll enter the distance as 22.84, 0, 0. Then I'll click OK. So if you select all of these tendons, so the tendons which are named as copy would be the second span tendons. So you can see from the left view, this is how the tendons would look like for the whole of the bridge. Click close. Next, I'll apply the tendon prestress loads onto the tendons that I've defined. So I'll click on tendon prestress, click on prestress loads. Now this is crucial, which is the load group name. So first I'll select span 1 PS1, which indicates the span 1 and the first layer of prestressing. So in this layer of prestressing, So my first tendons of 3 girders would be stressed at once. So I'll select G1 T1, G1 T2, sorry, it would be girder 2 and the tendon 1. Similarly girder 3 and the tendon 1. So this first layer of tendons would be stressed once. So that's why I'm grouping it under span 1 PS1. I'll give the both side jacking, and for this I'll change this to Newton mm to give the stress as 3095 MPa, and this indicates the grouting which would be done after one stage. This means if in this stage the stressing would be done, and if you give it 1, in the next stage the grouting would occur. So I'll click add. Similarly, second set of pre-stressing, I'll change it to span 1 PS2. I'll unselect them and select G1 T2, the third girder second tendon, and then I'll click add. I'll unselect them, change this to span 1 PS3, so where my left and right tendons would be stressed for each of the girders at once. So I'll select G1 T3L, so the left and right tendons of the girder 1 and the girder 2 and girder 3 I've selected in the third layer of my pre-stressing. I'll click add. Now I'll do the span 2 PS1 first layers pre-stressing. I'll unselect all of them. Now I'll select first tendons of the girders. So the copy ones are the second span tendons. Click add. Similarly for the second layer of the pre-stressing of the span 2, unselect them. So I'll click add. Similarly for the third set of pre-stressing, so this would come up in the third set of pre-stressing for the span 2. I'll click add. So now I'm done with the pre-stressing and the grouping. I'll click close. So this pre-stressing load application can also be done in the tabular format. I'll click on right click and go to tables. So this opens the table format, so you can quickly change these load groups rather than selecting minutely from the options. So you can directly change them, copy back to the Excel and change, or you can change it over here.